So I wrote a few things down today because I was a little bit not quite as organised as sometimes I am, and so I'll probably need a little bit of help along the way. But what was really interesting was it's nice to go on at the end of the night after our leadership groups spoke. I mean, they were unbelievable, weren't they? They were just outstanding. And as I said, I wrote some stuff down, but they've pretty much covered it all. So, yeah, there you go. Thanks, Jess. So we might just turn those over and not worry about them too much. What I would say is that this season has been clearly unique. But before I get on to talking about that, I thought I might just actually go back even a little bit further and just reflect on the prelude to season 7. A very short turnaround, but some really cool stuff happened. It was a really hectic time. And one of the jobs as kind of the leader of the group is to kind of keep them on task. It's pretty simple, really. It's basically just giving clarity around a couple of things, which is purpose and process, okay? And that's kind of just a fancy way of saying you just got to tell people this is what we're trying to do and this is why. And that why bit sometimes gets missed. I might have COVID, actually. We might be in strife. No, I don't. I actually tested yesterday, bizarrely. So anyway, as I was saying, tell people what we need to do, tell people why we're going to do it, and then maybe talk about the how. But the piece which often gets missed is this why, because we just get busy and we want to get on and do it, right? So in the off season, in the break, a couple of really cool things happened, which I thought spoke really clearly to the why footy's important and why it's a pretty good thing to be able to be involved with. So I've got a couple of images which hopefully Georgia can get up for me. There we go. So this photo is a cracker. It's obviously Sarah and Anne celebrating the grand final. And to me, this is kind of like the essence of why, of why we play footy, because it's just two really good mates playing footy together. It just happens to be on a really big stage, but they're just loving it, right? The joy of the game is a massive part of the why. And the good part about the platform that we're lucky enough to play on is that they get to share it with each other, they get to share it with their teammates, with their family and with their friends, but they also get to share that joy with the broader Crows family. And it is a broad family. Like the reach of our club is unbelievable. And so when we have some good days like that one, not only do you get to have it for yourself, but you get to share it and to spread it out. So that was a really cool day. But what happened next was even better. So what happens next is that because our players are semi-professional, they've got jobs. And these two work in our community department. They work amazingly hard all year, but in the 6 to 8 weeks after this day, they just went into overdrive. So I think Casey's here, and he's a leader of community, and he just flogged them. Sent them out on this amazing Premiership Cup tour, and they visited every corner of the state. And they visited about 8,000 people, mostly school kids, and they just shared that joy with all of those people as well. So that's 8,000 selfies, a bit like that one going round and round over there. 8,000 autographs and 8,000 moments where maybe, just maybe, those kids went, geez, these people are pretty cool. I'd like to do something like that. I'd like to chase my dreams. So a really pivotal piece of why we kind of do what we do. And there's another photo which is a bit similar. Hopefully George has got that one as well. Yeah, so this is MJ, Mariana. I can't say her name. I should be able to after 4 years. So MJ's a teacher, but at the moment she's working in our STEM footy program. It's this awesome program. It's really cool, set up by Katie at the club. And it basically uses footy to educate kids around maths and science. In the off-season, our team, our AFC team, went up to the APY lands. They took the cup, or one of the cups, we're not going to say which one. They took a cup up, and what that does is it gives us an entry ticket into places which we might not otherwise get into. And so the cup gets them in, they sit around, and then all of a sudden the cup just sort of fades off into the distance, and they're sitting down on a basketball court doing maths and science in a place where, perhaps that isn't a huge priority normally. So I just thought it was important before we sort of reflect into what happened next to actually sort of take that step back and to contemplate why we were involved in footy. And you can forget the ridiculously large impact that the game can have, and particularly you can fail to reflect when things don't go quite to plan. which is what happened this year, right? So season 7 rolled around really quickly, and guess what? The difference between this dinner, which is a great dinner, and table 28 is going to have a great night, but the last time we were here, we had a nice shiny cup sitting in the corner. And we shouldn't shy away from the fact that we actually came up short this year, or this season. We actually didn't achieve what we wanted to, because in elite sport, in high performance sport, the outcome matters. It's not a participation caper. We're here to win, and we didn't. And that's okay, that's what happens. It's worth noting that the margin between success and failure is actually pretty small. It's not that much. You can do a hell of a lot right and not quite nail it, but it's a significant gap. And the emotion that's attached to that difference, right? So a small gap, but the disparity in the emotion is enormous, because we've just seen when you get it right, it's through the roof. That's what footy does. It gets you right here and it'll take you right up there, or perhaps the other version, which is what we've experienced a little bit this season. Once again, that's life, that's footy. But the downside of that is that when you have a season like this one, where we don't quite achieve that ultimate success, unfortunately, this season will just become like a footnote. There'll just be a footnote about season 7. It'll go Adelaide Crows, 3rd. That's it. That's the reality of what we do. And that's a bit of a shame, because it doesn't reflect what actually happened in this season, which was some amazing stuff, some great stuff. It doesn't tell the full story. The full story is like this. So when you're winning and when you're on top, it's actually a bit easier. You still got to work incredibly hard, but as a team in season 6, we're kind of like a step ahead of the game. And it's like, I'll go an old reference, it's like Keanu in The Matrix, right? For the older ones in the room. Everything just sort of slows down and you can sort of pick your way through. And you're still having to work hard, but it genuinely is easier. But in season 7, it wasn't like that. It wasn't easier. It was hard. And we weren't ahead of the game, we were chasing. And we were scrapping and we were fighting, and at times we were wrestling with ourselves. And yet, through all that, we just kept digging in, and we kept finding ways to win games of footy. We'd surge from behind and get over the line, and we'd just hold on and get over the line, and we'd win. It was awesome. And then everyone would do like this, take a big deep breath and go again. But I know, having spoken to the players in their exits this week, it wasn't easy. And so at times like that, you're not going to win, and you're not going to get the accolade that comes with premierships. And so in times like that, you can sometimes think, well, that wasn't as worthy. But in truth, like, you actually do find out a lot more about yourself and those around you when the times are a little bit tougher. And it would have been really easy this season to let the season slip away, just to say, too hard this time. We've had a long year and all that rubbish. But we didn't. We fought, and we got to 8-2. We made it into the finals, and we gave ourselves a genuine opportunity to have a crack at it, to have a real good crack at it. And then we came up short. And that just burns. Like, you know, everyone's here and we're happy because it's a beautiful room and there's great people in the room. But in the end, that's not what it's about. And I remember speaking to the players after the preliminary final loss, and at that stage, you're kind of off script. You're just sort of talking and hoping that you don't offend anyone. And all I can really remember is just this immense sense of pride that I had in the group for how hard they had fought, not just on that day, but throughout the whole season. And I'm pretty sure I said, look, I'm prouder of you in this season than I am in season 6. And that's easy to say in the heat of the moment, but on reflection, it's true. Like, I'm genuinely prouder of the group for this season and what they were able to do than in season 6 when we won the whole thing. And hopefully, like, as I said, no one will remember this season. It'll be a footnote. But hopefully for those that live through it, you'll reflect back and think about it and go, you know what, there was merit in the fight, yeah? And value in the way that we struggled through it. And then great respect within our group on the other side when we come out the other side of it. So that's how I reflect on season 7. And Jess did mention that I spoke last time we were in a room like this. I've got some notes here, they're pretty important. Last time we were in a room like this, we spoke about bicycles and frogs, right? And I made a bit of a rod from my own back there because where do you go after that? For those that weren't here last time, I'll catch you up at the gin bar afterwards. But essentially it goes like this, right? And at the risk of jumping the shark, and this is a genuine risk, that this could go real flat. But just stay with. It's all right. We know about bicycles, that bicycles are cool, yes. But we know that frogs are so much better. They're amazing. And yeah, we love frogs. But have you ever thought about the most important thing in our solar system, right? The most important thing in our solar system is light, sunlight. Have you ever thought about sunlight? Like without light, that's it. There's no life. Cold rock rolling around in the middle of the universe. Light is the business. No frogs without light. So the most amazing thing of all about light is that it's got this ability to be two completely different things at exactly the same moment in time. So we're talking about quantum mechanics here. And stay with me. So light is, at a subatomic level, both a wave travelling through space and a particle at exactly the same moment in time. And the most brilliant minds of the 20th century, Albert Einstein, Niels Bohr, they discovered this, right? They discovered this thing about light, which was to say it's two different things at exactly the same moment in time, but they couldn't explain it. And they tried for their whole lives to explain this phenomenon, and in the end they just had to say, you know what, light is just way cool. That's what they said. So what's that got to do with footy? Bugger all right? But for me, right, season 7 is light. Season 7 is light because it is two things at the same time that are completely contradictory. This season, we are so proud. We are immensely proud of our team and what they've done. But at the same moment in time, we are intensely disappointed. We are not at all happy. We are not at one moment content with coming third, with rocking up and participating in this competition, because our capacity is greater than that. And I genuinely believe that we gave everything we had at this moment in time, but we are nowhere near the potential that we have. And we didn't unlock that potential, and therefore, as proud as we are, we're bitterly disappointed, and we should be. And I'm really confident that duality will drive us into next season and seasons beyond, because speaking to the players, they feel it. Yeah, they know that it was a grind and that they battled away, but they're also frustrated and disappointed that clearly we. I take a massive amount of responsibility for our inability to be able to really nail it. But anyway, that's what thought I'd talk to you about. Last thing, just wanted to sincerely and gratefully thank, and I'm so glad that the players went through all of the staff members, because Vicky and I sat down and we did the head count, and it was 32 people who are directly involved with, on a day-to-day basis, helping our athletes be the absolute best that they can be. And so I'm glad that the players mentioned them all, because now I don't have to. But if you are one of those 32, from myself and from the players, just an enormous amount of gratitude for all of the commitment, the time, and everything that you put into our players. And then it's also been mentioned previously, but for our admin team, who sits up above, literally in our offices, huge effort this year. 68 games. They look after us so well. They look after our AFL side, their SANFL side. So that's 4 seasons in 1 year. And we're moaning and carrying on about 2. So outstanding effort. That effort doesn't go unnoticed. We are, as I say, enormously grateful. And finally, to the players, wow. I mean, it's just an amazing group to work with. You heard the leaders speak. Chelsea Randall isn't here tonight, and yet you look at our leadership capacity and you go, who wouldn't want to coach that? It's amazing. And finally, I just want to have one shout out to one particular player in Ailish Considine, who joined our team in 2019, and in a very short space of time managed to play in 3 grand finals, win a couple of premierships, the most ever by an Irish person. She's obviously done very well on field, but probably more importantly, she's just a great person, a truly caring human, and we're really thankful that you've moved your life over to us and went through all the sacrifices that you have over the time with us. Ailish's time as a player is coming to an end with us, but her time with us as part of our family is ongoing forever and ever, and we look forward to catching up with you many, many times in the future, whether it be on this side of the planet or the other one. So most importantly, thanks for listening, and let's make sure we have a cracking night. Thursday night, school night. Ooh, that could get ugly tomorrow. Let's go, Jess.